Okay, Meg, we're at House 2. Could you explain a little bit of the history on this?
This is a unique situation for the town. Back in 1905, the town received a report from the New Hampshire insurance underwriters, and they suggested to lower insurance rates for the community. They needed to formalize a department legally, have a formalized fire department, and two, to build stations to serve the citizens. By doing that, the insurance underwriters gave the town both funding to build the stations, and also when they were completed and had the apparatus, also lowered their insurance rates. So they gave them a very good incentive to do this. This station we currently have here was one of the first built, and this part of the community was actually one of the most densely populated part of the town. And how this was built is actually a senator who was from Salem at the time, very powerful, named Wallace Cole, actually donated the property, donated the labor and materials, and built this station for the town back then, so they could actually build the second station, which was called Hose House 1.
Was there anything inside this building? Is it being used?
This building right now is, we're trying to, by Assistant Chief Breen on our department, is trying to turn it into a museum for us. Right now, the Historical Society kind of owns the building and looks after it, but we're trying to take it over as a project as a fire department and the membership of the fire department and maintain it. Really right now it's just used for storage and that type of thing, but we like to bring it back. It's a two-bay station that was designed for horse and buggy wagon type of thing. And one of the unique things about the station is Mr. Merrill, who his father back in the 1900s used to go around and deliver meat to the area on it with a horse-drawn wagon, would cut the meat in the back of the thing and give it to him and they get paid. When they had a fire from this area, the people from this station would run out and try to find Mr. Merrill. He would bring his horses, volunteers just like he was, and would hook up the wagons, the fire trucks, basically back then they were horse-drawn wagons, and would take them out to the fire call and deal with the issue down there. So it really was a neighbor helping neighbor type of event.
We're talking about the museum part of it. What would you think you'd have as a part of that museum?
Well, we like to get maybe one of our older fire pieces of apparatus. We have actually two in the community. One of the 1934 Maxim, that was one of our first motorized apparatus we had here, which was a station was built over where the old house 1 was, right across the street from the current station. That was given and put together, and there's also a second engine that we used in the 60s and 70s here. It's owned by one of our current firefighters. We'd like to maybe be able to restore those and put one of those pieces of apparatus in here to show them that history, and also be able to have it as a function hall, invite people in, see some of our history, our culture. A lot of some of the artifacts right now, if you want to see the old fire helmets and some of the badges and stuff, is currently located at the Salem Museum. So you can see some of the exhibits for those who goes back there. So we want to make it as a very big friendly, be part of the common here, user friendly, let people come in and see some of our history.
All right, Mike, now this is the Sovereign Bank, of course, but there used to be a hose house here, right?
Yes, this is in 1905. This is the location where the town of Salem, New Hampshire was actually got funding from the New Hampshire Underwriters Association to build Hose House 1. And actually it didn't cost the town anything. We were actually given funds to do that. As we were previously at the Hose House 2, which was donated by Senator Cole, that didn't cost the town anything. This was identical type of station here, built wooden two-bay station that housed basically horse-drawn apparatus. The other interesting thing about this location is that served the community very fine until like the 1930s. 1934, around that area, we got our first big motorized apparatus and wouldn't fit into Hose House 1 here. So that station was taken down, and on the same spot, a brick, classic historical brick two-bay fire station was built here, and it was now be able to house and motorized fire apparatus. There's also housed our first full-time chief at the time, which was Chip Hebert, and he served the very first time as a full-time chief. He did very much inspections and that type of thing, This station served the community very well until the 60s, and actually 1962, when the Salem Fire Department took the ambulance away from, actually was offered to us from Goundry's Funeral Home, and we built the station across the street diagonally from here, which is our current central station, in the early 1960s.
So now, this was the Main Street Fire Department at the time of station, I should say.
Yes, this station really, Hose House 1 and the Main Street Fire Station, served the community well. It's our central gathering point. It covered out towards the Turner Dairy area. It covered out towards the North Salem area a little bit. It covered out towards the west part where the Hose House 2 was. But this has served that. And then when actually this station was built and changed over in the 30s, Hose House 2 was decommissioned, and this one, so we actually had one station which was two-bay brick, which had motorized apparatus, and that was the primary station in the community. And we also had a second station which was up in North Salem, which is now being replaced today with a new station. So that one was opened in 1910. Currently, we're at the Main Street station. This is 152 Main Street. It serves currently multi-functions. One, it serves as an office administration where Chief Barnes, Assistant Chief Breen, Deputy Chief Parisi, myself, and also prevention houses the top part of the station. Downstairs, we have operationally our shift commander, the captain, works out of the station. Our paramedic, who is a multifunctional company, works out of this station. An ambulance company, an engine company works out of this station. We also use this station as the EOC, which with the flooding and all that type of thing and all the other stuff we're affected on natural and man-made disasters, at the back part of it serves as our EOC. So when this was originally built in 1962, they probably never thought that they'll have full-time firefighters sleeping around the clock. They'll have an EOC here, our communications, our paramedics, those type of things. To meet the needs in 1980, in the middle of the 80s, we actually had the ability to add on to the station, which put a whole second floor on top of this, which now houses administration offices and also houses sleeping quarters for our firefighters. Today, the fire department is very different. And what I mean by that is when we originally hired, you talked to the prior generations to us, they were hired as firefighters. They were strictly on, fire incidences were up, alternate means of heating, wood stoves, oil, salamander heating were then, and fires were very prevalent. Today, a firefighter is not just a firefighter. To be a firefighter in Salem today, you have to be an EMT, you have to be able to serve on the ambulance, those type of things. You also have to have the firefighter background. But when I look at it overall things, is firefighting today is 20% of our job. 80% of our job is customer service. We deal with anything from flooding to flooding basements to oil burner problems to wires downs to electrical emergencies to the EMT, the paramedic, the car accidents. So we're now basically a jack of all trades. We're into customer service and being able to deliver services that are second to none in our community. And our firefighters today take a lot of pride in that are out there.
It really is a camaraderie. It has to be teamwork in order for this to work, I would imagine.
Oh, absolutely. Our firefighters today, they live together, they train together, and the firefighters today that are going out the door, they're on the job for 25, 27 years, and they're in the ages of the middle 40s to early 50s. If you look at that realistically, they spend more than half their life in the fire department serving the town. So that means that a lot of these guys have spent more time with the guys they work with than their families have been married for 20 years and that type of thing. So that's where the brotherhood gets together and bonding together. And as we talked about earlier in 1905, you know, it was neighbor helping neighbor, and that still is embodied and embraced by our firefighters today. They're in here and want to help and make a difference. We're lucky. The fire service today is one of the few departments and organizations in any town that when people call, we have a capability to make a positive impact in their lives and their relationships with people and those type of things. With our paramedics today, what they are able to do in the streets and the technology they can do really increases the survivability of the residents of Salem who use our services, and that's important. That's a big change from what we did before. We used to be able to go in the field with the EMS and be able to stabilize patients and not let it get worse. Today we actively go out and treat patients and get them better before they get to the hospital, and that's important. That's a big change out there.